Short tracks out of the way, the Icon Cup Series is back to the grind of speedway racing, and we'll get back to high speeds where there are no limits. Texas Motor Speedway. A unique reconfiguration to break the mold has been criticized heavily in recent years, but has since come into its own as a pivotal and exciting stop on any NASCAR calendar, and we're here for round 8 this season. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Fort Worth, Texas. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the 2024 Icon Cup Series yet again. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business, and this is going to be a fun one at Texas. I already acknowledged this place has come under a lot of criticism in recent years, and I'll admit, for a while I was in that same boat. But after watching even just highlights of some of this weekend's races down at Texas Motor Speedway, my opinion has certainly changed. It has definitely come into its own as a racetrack, an exciting racetrack at that, and I think we're in for a treat this evening with these 160 laps on tap. Now, some Windows update issues have pushed the broadcast back a little bit, so this will be somewhat truncated to get into this evening's action. Thankfully, the Icon Cup Series comes with a 5-minute warm-up session that we will use now, so not much is changing. Let's take a look at the point standings, though. First, you know what? Same order. We'll take a look at the track map. There we go, Texas Motor Speedway. This isn't anything special, and so we can kind of move on past this pretty quickly, but this is a look, and I guess briefly we can talk about the fact that each end of this racetrack is very different. Down in turns 1 and 2, wide, flat corners. Down in turns 3 and 4, the classic high-banked, more narrow corners. So two very different ends of the racetrack, and that will, of course, be the conversation throughout the course of the evening in different ways and different formats. But point standings are the really big concern coming into this race, because Nathan Finnegan, with those 2 wins, is starting to step away just a little bit in terms of overall points. Now, this is tracking to that 16th driver cut line, right between the brothers, Sean and Kyle Purcell. They are just 3 points apart. And so seeing where everybody fits into things after Martinsville last week is very interesting. Also worth noting, Vincent Loria, penalty after last week's race has relegated him to 9th in the standings, and the win that he has in that win column will not count towards the playoffs. He has got to do it by points or get another win, and only then will he be eligible, I suppose. He's eligible now, but if he were to fall out of the top 16, that win would not carry him into the playoffs, not guarantee him a spot. So very, very important to note there for car 67. And that penalty comes after contact with Justin Michael repeatedly in the finish last week at Martinsville Speedway. And definitely a very controversial way to win the race. Some like it, some don't. I think some would be pretty much just Vincent and his teammates. Admittedly, they have become very, very polarizing, and that's not a bad thing, but definitely a big disconnect there. And hey, that is short track racing. I'm here for it personally. Zach Stephen, who joined me last week. It's exciting. It's fun to watch from our point of view, but I fully understand why maybe it wouldn't be smiled upon necessarily. So we can go ahead and get into the iRacing.com sim here as well. Again, things kind of pushed back a little bit, so a bit of a different pre-race, but we can take a look at the schedule for this season as well. Daytona, of course, kicking us off way back when in February, and as we move into mid-April now, we are in the full swing of speedway racing once again. I mean, we're going to Texas this week, Talladega next, then Dover, Kansas, Darlington, and Charlotte in this opening portion, if you will. We go to Gateway for race 14. That's going to be exciting, of course. And let's not forget the road course at Sonoma, the short track at Iowa, New Hampshire there in the middle. That's going to drive like a speedway and a short track combined. Nashville, that speedway, again, going to drive a bit like a short track. The Chicago street course for race 19. And we're getting close to that summer stretch of all kinds of different racetracks. And it's only going to get more exciting as the season goes on. Now, Whiplash SimCam's race details, very important for this race. If you take a look here, 160-lap race. This is going to be very similar to what we saw at Las Vegas Motor Speedway about a month or so ago. 48 laps in Stage 1, 51 in Stage 2, 61 in Stage 3, breaking this thing up into not so equal numbers, but matching what we saw in that second race of the season. That 60% rule is carrying over, where we take 60% of NASCAR lengths for both the race and the stage and break it up just the same way. So 48 laps would be 60% of 80, 51 would be 60% roughly, I believe, of I guess 85 or 90. I have to refresh myself. And then, of course, the 61 laps to go to the end. And what's important about these stages is no matter how you break things down, you've got to pit once in each stage. That means you're using at least 2 tanks of fuel each time and probably 2 sets of tires each time. So if you work the math out, you're probably putting your last set of tires on with about 30 laps to go in this race. Unless you can run one of these stages on one set. And that's easier to do with cautions, of course, but these drivers will like to do it without cautions. That is something very, very important to watch for in this race. That was pivotal at Las Vegas Motor Speedway race number 2. That will once again be pivotal this evening. That tire budgeting strategy. You've got to keep a set in the pits in case we get a late race caution. You've got to have those tires to work with in that last run to the end. So 100%, this tire budgeting strategy through the stages, that is going to be most important today. Now, of course, the difference in ends of the racetrack, that'll be important as well, but it's going to come down to tires this evening at Texas Motor Speedway. We do have a new driver in the field, Matthew Fleming, and we can even take a look, and you'll notice he doesn't have a graphic there. I didn't know this guy was going to be in the race, so welcome Matthew Fleming to the field. Car 62 joining us this evening as warm-up will come to a close. We didn't quite catch qualifying, unfortunately, but I saw that a certain driver with car number 30 on the side of his door was pretty quick in qualifying, and he's going to be starting next to last week's race winner. And again, penalized race winner, Vincent Loria, but will keep the win. It just will not count towards playoff eligibility. We've got cars in the grid. Ryan Patty on pole this evening. Let's go through your CC's business starting grid. Ryan Patty on pole, Vincent Loria completing your front row, and a new paint scheme for third place starter Brian Smith. He'll start this race to the inside of Daytona race winner Michael Milfelt Jr. with a teammate right behind, Justin Michael, back in the field. He was so fun to watch last week at Martinsville Speedway. Matthew Fleming, newcomer to the series, will start from 6th. Continuing on through the field, Cody Neal, who has been so much fun to watch all season long. A lot of these guys have been fun to watch, but Cody Neal has been so aggressive, so quick, and has gotten kicked down so many times. He'll start from 8th with Nathan Finnegan, 2-time race winner this season, on his outside. Row 5, it's Zach Lockett inside, Kyle Purcell outside. That completes your top 10. Cameron Thompson there in 11th, Timothy Harper in 12th. He won at Bristol. He'll be looking for another win this evening if he can get up there. How about Justin Bissonette in the number 06 car? Jacob Gladulus in the 14 back here, matching his car number on the starting grid. Adam Ball rolls off from 15th. Brock Hersey from 16th. Kevin Gunther, Brad Delph, Mike Jennings, and Stephen Tuck will wrap up your top 20 on the grid. The field working onto the banking, just one pace lap for these drivers to get formed up, and it sometimes can get a little bit rushed for these drivers to catch up to back into the field. We'll let the grid go by at the bottom of your screen. You can see where your favorite driver is starting this race. A lot of new paint schemes, though, rolling into this field. A lot of new looks. Again, on that 78 car, for example, on that 4 car now, on that 93 car, a lot of new paint schemes throughout the field. Watch for your favorite driver. They might be in some new colors. Before we go green, a nod to our partners with Pit Stop TV, of course, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO and CC's Business, and a well wish as well to my usual co-host, Zach Burtis, not able to make it this evening, had some stuff going on, not able to make the call out to virtual Texas Motor Speedway. We'll work into the Geico restart zone for the first time this evening, 32 cars strong, waiting on the green flag, and we will go green from Texas. Down the backstretch, lap number 1, Ryan Patty inside, Vincent Loria on the outside, picking up where he left off a week ago, but that Skippy peanut butter cart gets a little bit loose, maybe in 3 and 4, has to back out. It'll be a drag race to the stripe, but Loria will lead lap 1. An exciting first lap here at Texas to get things going. We're in for a treat. Brian Smith working on the outside now. Patty gets loose. He'll bobble back into 3rd, and our pole sitter, not only does he not lead lap 1, he falls back to the bottom step of the podium on lap number 2. Side by side behind him, Milfelt drops down to the bottom side. That's going to be actually Michael dropping low. Milfelt will stay in the middle, getting a run now on corner exit. Fleming falling back from 6th to 7th and getting swallowed up now maybe by the 6 of Nathan Finnegan. It is good to be back. On board with Finnegan down the backstretch of the turn number 3. These wider banks, or rather taller banks, narrower track down here. In turn 3 and 4, you can carry so much more speed, barely get off the gas. Finnegan using that to his advantage. He'll go on by, and that is position number 6 for car number 6. Justin Michael, fantastic on a short track last week, falls now behind the 62. And everybody's starting to get their bearings around the speedway. Good look throughout the field. Some big time moving around that 44 car of Joshua Clemens. Let's take a look back there. Clemens following up behind a group of 5 or 6 cars running side by side. Sean Purcell down low. He'll roll by Brad Delph. That's Timothy Harper up top of the 12, and Delph in the 72. Going to fall back one more spot behind the 44 car now of Clemens. There's Cody Eldred, new paint scheme for him that ran last week at Martinsville on board that Chevrolet Camaro. Ryan Patty still in the top 3. Cody Neal solidifies in 4th, matching his car number. Michael Milfelt 5th. Finnegan 6th. Nothing changing up front. You're on board with Cody Eldred in 21st position here on lap 6. Going to graze the outside wall as he works on position 20. And it's worth taking a reminder of the fact that while these guys are racing for stage points, just like the NASCAR Cup guys do, the amount of drivers that can earn stage points is a bit different. You only pay out stage points in these Icon Cup Series races to the top 5. So flipping back up to the race leaders, Milfelt holds that last spot right now. Finnegan would get nothing out of this stage, which makes it all that much more important that the 155 is up here on a speedway race. We've not seen great speedway races from Milfelt this season after that Daytona win, so to see that Toyota Camry up front is very, very important this early. The field single file, a decent look there as they work down the backstretch at No Limits, Texas. This place is so cool. I know a lot of fans have recently really been critical of this racetrack, and again, I'm in that category. I get it. But this weekend, I think, proved that it's starting to become a really, really cool racetrack. It's separating the men from the boys, if you will, and I think giving us one of the more unique speedways that we'll go to all season long. A good question out in YouTube chat. And for those of you maybe just joining us or joining us a few minutes ago, one more recap of the Whiplash SimCam's race details. 5 changed sets of tires in the pit lane. No fast repair. So essentially, you break this race down. It's a lot like Las Vegas for race 2 if you caught that one. They've got perfectly 2 sets of tires for each stage, and that works out nicely. But it's going to be absolutely imperative that these drivers save a set through at least one of the first 2 stages to have that extra set later on in stage number 3. That was the defining factor between several drivers, most notably Brian Smith and Vincent Loria at Las Vegas in race 2, where Brian Smith went back to victory lane. Speaking of Brian Smith, starting to work out of that 67 car. And I don't have the exact stat, but I would say at least a third of the laps this season have been led by one of these two drivers. Brian Smith in the 78, Vincent Loria in the 67. So watching these two fight this early is just shades of what we've seen all season long. Do appreciate the kind words, Tyler DeTalent. Old School Coins in the chat. Thomas S. Anthony Tizeo checking in before he went green flag towards the back end of the field. Anthony currently running in 28th. We get a chance to kind of catch our breath here, although Adam Ball and Kevin Gunther not catching their breath. They race for the 13th spot. Mike Jennings just behind, and this is that group of drivers that is oh so used to racing with each other. They've done so for months, years, sometimes on the same team, so they're very confident around one another, and there you go, big move for Jennings to the inside of Ball, and tires are starting to wear out. I was able to take some laps here this afternoon and try to familiarize myself with this NASCAR Gen 7 Cup car at this racetrack. I don't race much anymore, so to get those laps is super important for me so I can actually know what I'm talking about. And after about 5-10 laps, the tires completely go away, and it's very difficult, near impossible at times, to hang on to the race car once you have more than 15 laps on the tires. It gets very, very free, so if tires are not managed correctly, we're going to see some spinning, some sliding, and who knows what else. I already saw some tire marks to the inside of turns 1 and 2 that time through. Brian Smith. Broken record working up to Vincent Loria for the race lead. Had the pleasure of the opportunity to call some racing last night at Anderson Motor Speedway in Williamston, South Carolina. A big topic of conversation in their limited late model race, the Southeast Super Trucks, was how soon will these guys push? And we're going to see a similar, I think, situation here. If we're talking about needing to run one set of tires in these first 48 laps, how soon do these guys actually want to push? And we see similar conversations in the NASCAR races on Sundays as well, but this car, of course, prompts guys to push every lap of the race. You just can't do that sustainably, as Cody Neal works now on Ryan Patty for third. It's just so tough to actually push these tires to the limit and not wear them out too early. You've got to sit back and wait, but it's a difficult thing to manage as Neal rubs up against Ryan Patty and falls back into the 4th spot. That was very, very close, and now opens the door to Michael Milfelt Jr. on the outside. That is just so tough to do. Justin Michael now on the inside of Nathan Finnegan. That'll be for 6th. Finnegan caught up top in that 6 car. He's got a couple of wins this season coming at Phoenix and again at Richmond Raceway. So clearly driver number 6 has got some speed. He can do it on the shorter tracks. Can he do it on a speedway? And he's been fast, I think, at every single race this season. It's a matter of putting these races together, and that's been a struggle for a lot of drivers. Not so much for Nathan. Was so close last week, though, at Martinsville, and unfortunately, for him at least, a little bit of contact towards the end of the race took him out of the running. Didn't have the best finish, that's for sure. But certainly we knew he was there, and he's going to work to the outside now of Cody Neal. That's kind of no man's land up there, outside of what used to be the only lane at this racetrack. Couple of puffs of the safety barrier up top. Milfelt Jr. now starting to fall back. Finnegan going to work the outside, and Neal will let him go by. So position change there as Matthew Fleming will now work up to Milfelt. Justin Michael just got by. So I'd mentioned here, car 155, you got that win at Daytona, which is huge, obviously, to get the first win of the season. But since then, it's been kind of a lackluster season. Not to say that he hasn't had speed or hasn't had strong runs, but has just been a mark behind a lot of his teammates and fellow competitors this season. Really needing a good run here tonight if he can get it. See, these guys are shifting down in turns 3 and 4, it looks like. We're right on board. Shifting it, of course, in 1 and 2. But it looks like shifting in 3 and 4 as well. We're right on board and try to listen to whether or not he's actually doing that. Meanwhile, I see the weather coming up as a topic. 82.6 degrees in the air, 105 on track. It is decently warm, and yeah, 4th gear into turn 3, not shifting on the backstretch. Oh, it's the wall. Kyle Purcell, a great start to the day here at Texas. He's going to work up and race for that 8th spot. It is really hard to pass here. I don't envy these drivers at all. Again, I actually got more laps today than I expected to get. Learning a little bit about how these cars are going to handle over the course of 160 laps, and trial and error with shifting was very, very important. I'm sure these drivers have done that in their own practice and testing as well. Getting those laps in and just trying to figure out how you can shift, how you need to shift maybe to go fastest. There's a couple of options as these tires wear out. I think it's most efficient probably to shift twice. Is that right? Yeah, so you'll downshift into turn 1, you'll upshift on the backstretch, and leave it in 5th through 3 and 4. But that might change as this race goes on. That might differ a little bit driver to driver as well. And as these tires slow down, you might need that 4th gear all the way through turns 3 and 4 to stay competitive. Backstretch now, 3rd place, Finnegan. That's another spot for car 6. Started 8th. That is a big move, actually. Hadn't realized just how far back he's come from. 8th position in qualifying. 3rd now, less than 25 laps in. And our top 2 have not moved an inch in the last 10, 15 laps. Haven't changed positions at all. And caution. Crash in the back. Tanner Dio, one of them. Timothy Harper, Bristol race winner. Thought maybe he could go for a win again today. That's likely not the case. That is a lot of right front damage. This caution will come right within the pit window. Question is, do you actually want to pit this time? Here's Tanner Dio on the outside, Harper down low. Dio gets free, just catches the right rear of Harper. They both go hard in the outside wall. And that is likely the end of their competitive days collectively. Right on board with Dio in the 20. This is going to be from his helmet perspective. So inside the car, inside of the helmet, driver's eye perspective. I love this camera. You're going to see the hands start to work a little busier. And of course, it's not his actual handwork, but you'll still see the wheel moving around a bit here as he exits turn 4. Watch the pitch of the car. It gets free, tries to correct it. Boom, 12 cars there. And unfortunately, whoa, a couple of close misses. But unfortunately, those two have a bunch of damage. The field will work down into pit lane, and everybody right to the pits. Everybody taking tires. Fleming has to readjust. Everybody up on jacks. Looks like it's a fuel-only stop for the leaders. There goes Loria, Smith, and others. And that is a big, big deal. Take nothing but fuel here early, although there are some tires going on cars. You see Finnegan and Patty leave around the 10th position each. So Loria will line up first, Smith second, Justin Michael and Michael Milfelt Jr. Third and fourth. And Kyle Purcell will move into the 5th spot. Fuel only up front, again, going to be so important. Looks like the first car on tires will be Ryan Patty in the 30. We can dial up driver 30 here in just a minute. These guys take, I believe, the either 2 to green or 1 to green signal. We'll dial up driver 30. We've talked to you a couple of times this season, Ryan. You're the first car on tires here going into this restart. Interesting spot to be in. A whole lot of cars on old tires ahead of you. Why did you take tires and opt to use that set early?
Yeah, it's a tough call. There wasn't really a general consensus across the teams here. I just thought, you know, I haven't had a lot of stage wins or a lot of stage points even this season, so I figured I'd want to give myself the best chance. And with as many laps as are left here, you know, without tires, you're going to be in trouble. But I'm curious. I don't know if these guys took 2 or if they just took fuel up ahead of me.
I don't recall any of them taking 2 tires. I could be mistaken, Ryan, but I'm curious. Of course, the tire math still works out to your benefit. If we go green, you would still be okay. Are you concerned at all trying to get that extra set of tires later to make sure you're good in case we get a late race caution?
No, I feel like if it does come down to late race cautions, you can probably get away with 2 tires or even no tires, the way the aero works here. So, I don't know. I mean, we're just seeing what we can do here for the first stage. Well, maybe we won't be aggressive in the second stage, but we'll see what happens.
Well, best of luck to you.
Thanks, buddy.
Ryan Patty, car 30, going to restart 8th position. First car on 4 tires. And I don't recall seeing our leaders go up on the jacks. They may have taken 2. They might have, actually, because now I'm having a fever dream maybe that the 67 did go up on the jacks, but restart zone, and we are back green at Texas Motor Speedway. Down the backstretch, 1 lapped car ahead. That's Tanner Dio. Crash in the back. Matthew Fleming, first start, and he's in trouble. Car 62, unfortunately, will end a really solid run very, very early. He's not done, of course, but, well, his solid run is done. Going back and checking the tape, it's no tires for Loria in that bunch. There may have been tires that went on the Zach Lockett machine. He was a little bit slower in the pit lane. A little bit of good info to go ahead and grab. I had to check myself there, but we'll watch this caution for car 62. That's Josh Clemens to the inside, and he's just going to tag the left rear of the 62. Grabs Cody Neal almost, and gotta be thankful he didn't overcorrect into the 4 car. That was really, really close to Neal's day going awry very early once again. We've seen that a lot this season. Oh, in the wall. Hand over fist maybe, or was that was Robert Blewett in the 99 car. Trying to miss the spun 62 car, and here we go, back down to pit lane. And he will not be alone. Fleming will be joined by Blewin and by Harper here. Now under the second yellow, he's coming back in for some more repairs, and we could actually, tell you what, let's dial up driver 12 maybe, and see just how bad the damage is. And typically, of course, that race win earlier in the season, that's nice, but you never want to be caught up in a crash early. That's what happened here. Caution number 1, you and the 20, what happened?
I looked at it. I think he got loose a little bit in combination with me just coming up off the corner. I think it was just a racing deal, honestly. I mean, I can't really blame him. I mean, he got loose on old tires, so... just a tough deal being back there in 20-something spot. Hate it. I hope my car can still run good, but not all the damage is fixable.
And that's what I was going to ask you about here. How bad is the car at this point? How much has been repaired? How much do you still have to repair?
I just completed it. I just got it all repaired. I had like a minute and a half of damage, and so that's all fixed. That brief little green flag run we got there, it seemed to run fine on old tires anyway. I'm saving tires since I'm already at the back anyway. So it seems good. Just have to see what the aerodynamics feel like whenever we get back green here.
Track temps are pretty high. How difficult are the tires to hang on to? Obviously, if Tanner made that mistake, it's not easy to hang on to the car once you wear these tires out, but how tough is it?
Yeah, I mean, I probably oversaved tires on that first run there. I mean, I dropped from 12th to like 24th in the first 5 laps probably, and just trying to save the rears as much as I could. And I was catching up, but then again, I mean, I was a little too far back for a gas run. You know, I don't think I would have caught all the way back up by the time we had to pit for fuel. So I'll have to see what I can do different to save the tires and still move forward here.
And quickly before we go green, how about your teammate Cameron Thompson? We haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, I feel like, but car 7 back in the field. How are you trying to help him out?
Let's try to get him a win. He's been doing great, and he's really improved this year from last year, and we're hoping to get him in the playoffs too, along with the 73 car. Hopefully my whole team can get in the playoffs, and we'll show a strong run here with the Harper Motorsports crew.
Good to talk to you, Timothy. Best of luck.
Appreciate it.
He'll go back down to his teammate, Cameron Thompson, this evening. Anthony Campbell not in the field, but got to give a big shout out to driver 73 last week. Got his first top 10 in the series, I believe, ever. He was talking about it in Discord. A big top 10 at Martinsville last week. It might not have been his first ever, but I recall that being a conversation at some point. Regardless, a really big day for him. That actually shot him up significantly in the point standings. You can see that here. Look for that 73 car. He was 23rd, I believe, the week prior going into Martinsville. He is now 19th in the standings, and of course that's going to change after missing this evening's race. But still, a really, really big day for that 73 camp and all of Harper Motorsports to get Anthony Campbell that far up the order at the end of the race. Of course, it came with all that controversy and all of that calamity, chaos at the end of the race, but still very important for that 73 bunch. A quick look at what's upcoming at Pit Stop TV. Just a brief look. We'll talk more about each of these races later on, but some short track racing, some Talladega racing. It's always going to be fun. Super late models at Slinger and Oxford Plains. Of course, the Icon Cup Series goes to Talladega next up. Talladega Super Speedway with that brand new track logo. It'll be fun. Race number 9 on the way. Back into the Ico restart zone. Vincent Loria still the race leader. Justin Michael now on the outside of the front row. Green flag is back out. 15 laps to go in stage 1. That caution mixing things up now. Ryan Patty is in third already, chasing the leaders down the back stretch. You see just how spread out everybody is. 3 wide in the back, but up front, Ryan Patty to the inside of Brian Smith. He's going to bring the fight now to Vincent Loria out of turn number 3. Here comes car number 30, looking for the race lead, now on the inside of Vincent Loria. And he's easily going to take it away. Caution. Charlie Widener, the 95, is in trouble. Thankfully, it looks like it might have just been a smoke show. I don't see much damage, if any, on that 95 car. But of course, we will take a look and confirm. Here's the onboard with Charlie Widener, following Zach Lockett into turns 3 and 4. So he's somewhere around the top 10, maybe a little ways back of it. Inside here of Cody Neal. He's going to get tipped by Cameron Thompson, actually just talking about him. And Widener goes for a ride. On board with Widener. It's difficult when you get turned around in front of the field like that to discipline yourself as a driver and not try to keep driving it. He easily could have overcorrected back into traffic, but chose to lock it down and slide through the grass. Really solid job by Widener to just kind of accept his fate that he's going to go sliding and get the car corrected as quickly as he can without doing so back into traffic and trying to drive through it. And we'll see if anybody opts to come down pit lane this time. Widener might be one of the few. No, I don't see anybody opting to pit. Here we go, Kevin Gunther and a couple of others. Gunther will come in. There's Cody Eldred, the 31 and 32, both coming into the pit lane. Eldred has had a very up and down season so far. Seems like every week that he gets something going, then next week something happens that deters that, or I guess detracts from it. Car 32 this evening down the pit lane. No service for him. I think just trying to open himself up to top off on fuel when they come back around and take the 1 to green. Eldred debuting that new paint scheme last week at Martinsville Speedway. He's had Operation Motorsport on the car every other race. I'm gonna make that, oh, that's Old School Coins. Duh. Old School Coins on the hood there. Sean Dower in the chat as well over on YouTube. I saw an email from you, Sean, right before we went live. That's good to see. Old School Coins getting into, yeah, there he is. Right on cue. A new sponsor getting into sim racing, or maybe just getting into our facet of sim racing. I think he's been around for a while. But good to see Old School Coins here on the side of that 32 car. And yeah, here comes Eldred back down the pit lane, so he is just trying to make sure he can top off on fuel here, I'd imagine. Stay at the back of the field. Tanner Dio is still running. He is 1 lap down on that number 20, so recovery drive in effect. And Kevin Gunther, who came through the pit lane that time by, looks like just for fuel or maybe 2 tires. It's a pretty long season here at the Icon Cup Series. Talladega next up, 113 laps next week. Then it's out to Dover, Kansas, Darlington. Of those races will be live for Talladega, Dover, and Kansas, I believe. I'd have to check the calendar again. Darlington falling on Mother's Day, unfortunately. As a new father, that also means that my fiance is a new mother. So, unfortunately, as far as the sim racing side goes, that means I would be in some big trouble if I was on the sim broadcasting a race on Mother's Day. So I think that's pretty understandable. Hopefully that we will not be catching that race at Darlington Raceway. We'll see exactly what the plan is for Charlotte Motor Speedway and that Memorial Day race. We're hopeful, of course, to be broadcasting that one. I believe the plan is to broadcast Gateway for race 14 and Sonoma. I think we'll have to miss Iowa, unfortunately. And again, that's one I'll have to check the calendar for, but there was another one in there. I think actually Iowa might fall right on Father's Day. A lot like Mother's Day, that's kind of that one goes. But then back live at New Hampshire, Nashville, Chicago. And I don't know that there's many other races we miss. I think August 11th might fall right around Richmond. And that might be one that we have to miss. Otherwise, the schedule, I think, is pretty solid until late September. And I think that would be around the either Bristol or Kansas date. Well, after a bit of a lull in the action, we will have inside of 10 laps to go to the end of stage 1. We're going to restart on lap 40. We're racing to the end of lap 48, which means we've got 9 laps to go in the stage. Remember, in the Icon Cup Series, we only pay stage points to the top 5. So that first battle for stage points, Nathan Finnegan inside, Michael Milfeld Jr. outside. Into the Geico restart zone we will go. One more time to get us back going at stage 1. Green flag. Big bobble out of Brian Smith in the 78. He falls back to Finnegan. Here comes that 6. Loria defending. Cars hitting the wall all over. Turn number 2. Ryan Patty down to the white line and taking the top spot. Finnegan going to follow through. Loria still trying to find a slot. Hasn't found it yet. He's going to lose second. He's going to lose third. Wow, what a terrible lap for the 67. First to second to third, then to fourth. They'll fight back here on Brian Smith. Ryan Patty mentioned wanting that stage win, wanting those stage points. He's working on it here as Justin Michael works down low. These 3 all on old tires. Smith caught in the middle. He backs out. Loria from the top side. The next car behind this bunch on tires is that gold number 4 of Cody Neal. Loria up the racetrack. And he's still sliding as the 87 completely loses traction. He'll stick in it, but he's going to fall back to 6th. Cody Neal now into the top 5, but looking for more. Loria goes all the way up the racetrack. There's a big bump right about there that unsettles the car. He's going to drive through it, come off the top side, and continue to fight for 5th. New fast lap from the 6th, Nathan Finnegan. Now teammates fighting for 4th and 5th. Loria right back up the racetrack. What he has going for him is, oh, well, maybe not. He's going to drop right out of the top 5 if he's not careful. Surprised Michael couldn't get him there. Now the next car back of these guys on tires is Mike Jennings is in the 16. They've got some space. Up front, Nathan Finnegan ran that purple lap a couple of laps ago, so with 5 to go in stage 1, can he catch his teammate, Ryan Patty? We've seen these two go toe-to-toe a few times this season, and it hasn't always gone the prettiest, but it's always exciting. The big run coming for the 6th car. He's going to look high in turn 1, maybe. And try to work the car back down to that white line. If you can enter high but wrestle it down low in the center, you might be able to get a good run off. That time, though, not the prettiest line for Finnegan at all. Brian Smith falling back, Justin Michael rolling through. So Michael up into 4th. Here comes Milfelt on that 67 of Loria. And a lot of these guys just trying to hang on with those tires and make sure they budget them properly for the back end of this race. Now, hello, Justin Michael. He's on old tires, but catching the 4 of Cody Neal. This makes no sense. Up front, Nathan Finnegan reeling in that 30 car. 2 laps to go, this time by inside of 0.2 of a second between these two. And Finnegan still battling those connection issues we saw last week at Martinsville. Real close there through 1 and 2. Gonna try and set them up here maybe for the last lap of the stage. They have left the field by 6.5, nearly 7 seconds. If this was a green flag run coming up, what a story this would be between these two. White flag for stage 1. Ryan Patty going to lead on the bottom side of turns 1 and 2. Just one more lap to go for his, I believe, first stage win of the season. Behind them, Cody Neal is trying to hang on the outside of Justin Michael. And here we go, final 2 corners for our top 2. Finnegan going to have to try and come off the top side, get a run here to the flag. It's going to be close, but Ryan Patty going to win stage 1 at Texas Motor Speedway. Oh, wall! Michael Jennings! He didn't get it too hard, but it, man, it was close. For a second, I thought he was wrecking. Stage 1 winner, Ryan Patty. It looks like Kevin Gunther was all but a lap down there at the end. He gets pushed to the end of the stage here by his teammate, Ryan Patty. We've already spoken with driver 30. Let's do it again one more time before he goes down to the safety of pit lane and works on his strategy a bit more. Ryan, as you come down to the pit lane here in a second, you talked about wanting those stage points. You went up and got them. Stage win over your buddy Nathan Finnegan. Does this maybe change the way you're approaching the rest of the race now that you got some points?
No, I think that worked out the way we expected it to. We knew we were going to have to pit halfway through or somewhere to the end of stage 1 there and take tires, so I'm happy with it, and you know, we'll come back down, take some fresh tires now, and hopefully it works out the same for stage 2.
How aggressive can you be with the lack of banking down on 1 and 2?
Oh, really? You really got to feather it. You cannot get under the gas heavy like you want to, because you will spin the car out late in the run if you do that. You'll just burn them up.
Well, split strategy between you and Finnegan. We'll let you get back down to it as you come to the pit stop.
Yeah, sounds good. I think he's going to split the stage and just wanted the track position, but it's tough with aero blocking here. You can definitely, even on older tires, you can make it difficult for guys with fresh tires behind you.
Well, best of luck. Don't miss the box. Don't miss the box. I could be your spotter, your crew chief.
Yeah, I got enough voices in my head, right?
Best of luck, bud.
Thanks, Andrew.
Ryan Patty down and away here in a moment. Cody Neal, quick run through the pit lane. Looks like he gets fuel only. There goes Fleming. Patty will take a full service. And that's good info from Ryan Patty on the strategy here for the 6 car of Finnegan. That he's going to split this stage and try to run an unconventional way to save a set of tires. It's not a bad way to do it, though. Well, is it? No, he can make it work. So I'm running through this situation in my head, right? So if you look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. Oh, Nathan, we're gonna have to select the pace car if you look through the Whiplash SimCam's race details. Stage 2 is 51 laps. He's run 24 on this tank of fuel and this set of tires. That's about a half a stage. And these guys can go a little ways shy of a stage. We're guessing, well, not guessing. It's a range of 37 to 40 laps. So if he can run 10 laps, which he definitely can do on fuel, if he can run 20, I think it's kind of a win here for him. He can get into that fuel window and make it to the end of stage 2. It's a very unconventional way to do it, but I like what's going on there for car number 6. That is definitely some thinking going on for Finnegan and company. As we are under caution, we'll go Pit Stop TV side by side and rejoin you in just a few moments for stage 2. Back to green in just a moment at Texas Motor Speedway, race number 8 on the season. Glad you're joining us for this one. This place looks absolutely fantastic. That recent facelift for Texas, the reconfiguration and the reskin by iRacing has really helped this place out. We're quickly approaching another restart this evening at Texas Motor Speedway. Pace truck down and into the safety of pit lane, turning things over to the one, the only Nathan Finnegan. Geico restart zone, green flag, back out for car 6. Big move there, Brian Smith straight to the bottom of turn 1, 3 wide now, Cody Neal up top. The RVs down on the inside of turn 2 have a fantastic view as they work down the backstretch. Smith down low on the inside. 3 wide still. Cody Neal up top. Here comes Patty. Fleming caught in the middle. Laureate down low on tires. And they survive the first lap back green. Oh, no they don't. Crash. Big players there. Laureate, Patty, and Fleming again. That is an absolutely huge blow to those 3. Stage 1 winner and last week's race winner involved. Look up from the cars at some data for a moment, and we've got ourselves maybe the biggest storyline of the race so far. 3 wide, down to turn 1. How does this happen? Fleming in the middle. Laureate had a bobble up the racetrack. Hard on the outside wall. Evan Patinko straight to the YouTube chat telling us that we got to watch his in-car. I saw him kind of lurking back there on the restart. Saw that he was in the neighborhood of all of that, so we will go ahead and do you a solid here, Evan, and watch the onboard. These guys were grabbing the fence out of 2. On board the Steelmaster number 96 of Evan Patinko. Following Justin Bissonette through the front stretch, the quad oval. 3 wide ahead. I'd be lifting here. I don't even want to be a part of this business for this exact reason. It all happens right in front. On board here, car 67. You'll see just how close these two already are. And right into the outside wall, right in front of our fans down there in turn 1. Unfortunate day for all 3. Well, unfortunate turn of events. Do some pretty good days for all 3 of those guys, but really tough break for the front row. Several drivers pitting under this yellow, one of them being Jacob Glangelich in the 14. Of course, you saw Patty and Laureate into the pit lane. Here's Kevin Gunther also working off the pit lane. Tanner Dio, it looks like, will finally grab that lap back, and Fleming has gone a lap down. That's a really tough break for 3 guys who started in the top 6. I mean, your front row in qualifying, Patty and Laureate, both swept up in that, and Fleming caught in the middle. He started 6th. One of these cars is refired, though I think it's going to be Patty. I thought wrong. Actually, Laureate's car, who's been fired back up, but Patty will pull away first, and now Laureate will follow suit. So earlier I mentioned some upcoming races for us at Pit Stop TV, and we can take a look at that once again. We go to Slinger this week with the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. We follow back up in a week's time at Talladega Super Speedway for this Icon Cup Series. And it's kind of back and forth between Icon and Sarah for the next couple of months until the North American Racing League makes their return on Thursday and Saturdays over the summer of 2024. And they'll be back with us for 4 standard sprint race rounds and 2 endurance rounds, building on something they tried last season for the first time ever where they ran an endurance points race to decide their championship. They'll be back on the schedule later this year. Watch for their races picking back up in June. In the meantime, some personal races coming up. I will be at Lonesome Pine Raceway in Coburn, Virginia. It's worth a Google search if you haven't heard about it yet. Again, Lonesome Pine Raceway in Coburn, Virginia for the Southeast Super Trucks. Be behind the production desk and the mic for that event alongside Wilson Ogle and Gerald Harris. We were actually at Anderson Motor Speedway last night. I mentioned this earlier. Out at Anderson last night in South Carolina for the opening round of the Southeast Super Trucks in 2024. The Rick Hendrick City Chevrolet Southeast Super Trucks and Honey Hush Boutique limited late models. We had Chase Pollard, very important in that limited late model race, and if you missed it, there was absolute chaos and calamity, feelings all over the place between Matt Light and local track hero and track champion at Anderson Motor Speedway, Justin Sorrow. If you're not on pitrow.tv, I do a lot of work for Pit Row, and I really do recommend, if you can, grabbing that subscription. It is a subscription service, $24.99 a month, which I know is difficult for some, so no pressure at all, but if you're able to, I recommend it. You can also go to sest.tv, but that is only for the Southeast Super Truck Tour. That little shameless plug out of the way. A big nod as well to our partners with the channel, Whiplash Simcams. All of these cameras that we use in these broadcasts are available with Whiplash Simcams. Most of them are paid cameras, admittedly, but very, very cheap. Talking about $5 to $10 for track cameras. Usually $3 or sometimes built in for some car cameras. ATVO is how we make these broadcasts possible, and CC's business keeps the broadcast headquarters smelling fresh. Geico restart zone once again. Nathan Finnegan down low, and we go back green again. Let's try it one more time. Down the backstretch, Finnegan clear of the 78 of Smith, but Brian Smith, he's got a better connection. Maybe he goes on through for this race lead as Cameron Thompson going to hang on to the third spot. Cody Neal down low. We might have a change for the race lead as well. Side by side, they'll go across the stripe. Ryan Sieg, Sam Mayer style, and Smith will win out on the bottom, at least for the short term. The 78 nearly clear the 6, not quite though. They will stay side by side down the backstretch. Brian Smith down low in that Grenadier 78. Brand new paint scheme. Love that new look. But old reliable for Nathan Finnegan off the top side. That number 6 across the stripe had the race lead. And Finnegan not going down without a fight, but he will lose that top position that time through turns 1 and 2. Just under now 100 laps to go. In fact, 99 this lap. Thompson and Neal get that sorted out behind them. Or, well, with them, but behind them, look at Bissonette into the top 5 for the first time in a couple of weeks. He's got Justin Michael just behind of that 87 car. Mike Jennings, that blue car in frame, he's been on the racetrack now for 36 laps. He's attempting a similar strategy to Nathan Finnegan. First side-by-side, Zach Lockett, Brad Delph, new paint scheme for Lockett. Finally leaving behind that Tennessee Titans paint scheme. And running now with a GOAT die-cast machine. Love the new look. I'm a sucker for anything purple, so put a purple car on the racetrack and I'll be a fan of it. But it really is a nice looking paint scheme for car 93. And it looks good ahead of this fight. Kyle Purcell, Joshua Clemens side by side. How about Timmy Harper up here as Sean Purcell rather, grabs a bit of the fence. Mike Jennings, Evan Patinko, side by side. Now to the quad oval. This is for position 7, and this is a much-needed solid run for this 96 car. Talked about him chiming in on YouTube chat as soon as he went through that crash in turn 1. He has been run through the ringer this season. Moving into 7th is big for that 96. It'll be good to see him continue this run and be able to make something of it. Sometimes I love some of those pit cameras right down on the racetrack. That just looks so cool. But Jennings fighting back to the inside of the 96 car. Might be 3 here soon. Brad Delph looking down low. They will go 3 wide for a moment. Jennings, though, going to lose position on the 96, and Patinko will clear them both. Now side by side for 8th. Still oh so close for this 8th position. Brad Delph nearly doors the 16. Jennings defending. Delph attacking. Lockett's there now. Here comes Harper on the outside of the racetrack. He's got damage from his contact, his crash with Tanner Dio. Oh, and he gets squeezed into the outside wall by the 16. But he'll lift and give another shot to Jennings to gather things up. Meanwhile, Cameron Thompson, Cody Neal, still fighting. This is for position number 3. You see Bissonette just behind there in the 06 car. He has had a very quiet race to this point. Sometimes it's the best way to have a race. Quiet. Big move there. Crossover by the 06, though. He goes straight to the white line in turn 3. Attic to basement, and it's not going to stick. He's going to have to back out. Well, not back out fully, but he had to get off the gas a little harder than I think he wanted to. And now Thompson going to lose that spot. Again, working a similar strategy to what Finnegan is doing ahead. A lot like what we're seeing from Mike Jennings, where he stayed out at that stage, having pitted just prior to go ahead and try and save that set of tires. But Justin Michael will now work to the inside of the 7. Speaking of Mike Jennings, he's back now to 10th or 11th. Here comes Sean Purcell on the inside, the 04 car. The quieter of the two brothers so far today. Single file ahead. This is your first side-by-side. Mike Jennings and Sean Purcell in the 04. Zach Lockett, Joshua Clemens, the couple of cars right behind. Love that old Kodak throwback for Clemens in the 44. Clemens going to hang on to the bottom side. He's actually going to make the pass now on the 16 of Jennings, who's on those old tires trying to save a set. Here comes Patinko. He's going to make it. Well, actually, he just got passed up by Brad Delph. He wants that spot back if he can get it. Even footing as far as tires go, I believe. Actually, no. Patinko, he might not be on new tires. He pitted 20 laps ago. So at the stage break for fuel only. So he's trying to save a set. Deeper in this field, of course, we saw that crash with Loria, Patty, and Fleming. Oh, crash again! Millfelt this time. Daytona winner, cautions out. And problems for car 155. We'll get it refired and turned back around. But we'll now slot in around the last position. Eric Smith, actually, the one car behind him, pulls up now. It will fall in line behind him, so Millfelt will line up 29th. Was racing back here with Kyle Purcell. Now Kyle's in 16th, so this is around the 15th, 16th spot. Not clear up. Millfelt came up. Kyle Purcell was there, and Millfelt has to pay the price. Anytime you win Daytona, you've got eyes on you the rest of the season. Everybody knows you got that first win in the first race, and that includes us broadcasters. Unfortunately, yeah, that was just not clear at all of the 155 of Milfelt Jr. Unfortunate between those two drivers to have that contact. And, man, really hate to see that. He was coming up the racetrack, and, you know, for a long time there through the corner, he was clear. It was only as they got to the wall, really, that that Purcell got there. Now, big-time split strategy. Bissonette and Patty and Eldred stay out, but Brian Smith and company all come in. Cody Neal works off the pit lane first. Then Brad Delph. Brian Smith still waiting on 4 tires. Neal down and away with fuel only. Delph down and away with fuel only. Smith and Finnegan now on new tires. I've lost track now. I have lost track of how many tires some of these drivers have taken because they've come in for fuel a couple of times. But that's Finnegan's 3rd stop. I would assume... Well, let's see. That's Finnegan's 2nd stop. I just said 3rd. Try to piece it together. I think Smith might only be on his 3rd set as well, including the set he started on. So as we approach the end of stage 2, which will happen at the end of lap 99, strategy is all over the place. I think they all learned from Las Vegas to start the season off. Learned very quickly that they're going to have to do their own thing. As the fence is in front of us for a second there. But learned that they're going to be having to manage these tires in a variety of ways. And I love that the field has each of their own ways to do so, but it makes it that much more confusing for me up here. So with a restart on the way, I'll pose a question to those of you watching. If you are Bissonette here, how hard do you have to defend? Secondary question, who are you pulling for in all of this? I mean, Ryan Patty with that damage, he suddenly is back up here in 2nd. I'm not sure how well he'll be able to hang on. That 30 car has got some damage. But while you guys think about who you're pulling for, let's grab Justin Michael. We talked to him a couple of times at Martinsville a week ago. Was the center of all of the drama late in the race. Justin, solid start to the race for you today, which is backing up a solid race at Martinsville a week ago. Of course, we know how that ended, but a new day here at Texas. How's the car feel?
It feels really good. It's just it doesn't fire off like everybody else's does, so I tend to drop back a little bit, but slowly start catching. Like that last run, I was probably 2 to 3 tenths quicker than the leaders, so we would have caught them before the end of the stage. So we just need really long green flag runs, and I think we'll be golden.
A very unique track here at Texas. Of course, a recent repave. As we get more used to it on iRacing, and as the track ages in real life, I think people are getting used to it and actually warming up to it. How do you feel about this place, and can you attack and get up to the front again?
I still like the old track better, but I still run good at this place, so I mean, I guess I like it because of that, but I still think the old one was more racier, but we run really good here, so we'll hopefully be able to pull something out here and get a win. I need to get locked in. I'm too far down on the points.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about how we were just glad to see you back in the field last week. I mean, is it maybe kind of a bi-weekly thing, or are we going to be able to see you make more races than not?
Oh, no, I'll make them. I mean, at one point I went to Vegas for the race, so I couldn't be here, and then I was sick a couple weeks. And so, no, we're not part-time. It just life happens.
Life happens. Good way to put it there. Justin, best of luck.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Good to talk to Justin before we go back green in the middle of stage 2. We'll have inside of 15, right? Yeah, just inside of 15 laps to go. No, that's not quite right. Hang on. Just inside of 25 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. I'll figure out the math on the fly, but Bissonette and Patty, your front row. Everybody firing off nicely. You see these guys try to figure out where they belong down the backstretch. 3 wide in some spots, 2 in others. Michael, a big swerve down the back straightaway, looking to the inside of Cody Eldred. Cody Neal, meanwhile, first car that pitted, but he did not take tires. Brian Smith is the first car on tires. And it shows, diving to the inside of 1 and 2, getting held up now on the roadblock that is the 06. Look at this mess down the backstretch. Patty slow, Neal slow, Smith to the inside, Bissonette checking up. And Smith is going to send it up the inside of Bissonette in 3. Nearly contact. They're going to sort it out now with Justin Michael on the outside. Who is going where? Patty off the top side. He was just in a crash, and he leads across the stripe on lap 78 above the 78 car of Brian Smith. Unbelievable restart. What a show. Big swerve now from Michael again. Nathan Finnegan dicing through the field. He's up to 5th spot. And Michael makes that pass look easy on Ryan Patty. Of course, new tires and the fastest drivers in the field will do that. Finnegan now coming up on that 30 cars. We've got a fight for the race lead. Justin Michael bringing the fight to Brian Smith side by side. We just spoke with the driver of the 87 rather. We haven't yet talked to the driver of the 78, but he's got 2 wins under his belt. Michael looking for his first. He's going to work to the inside of turn number 3. Side by side for the race lead at Texas Motor Speedway, lap 80 of 160. This is halfway as we race back to the stripe. Cross flags. Michael leads it. Nathan Finnegan pulling up. Brian Smith, he's going to bobble that time. Finnegan now, a shot to the inside. Crash in the back, Cody Neal. Again, the 4 car has got problems. Not a full crash, but he got the wall hard. You see the damage. Absolutely cannot catch a break. Side by side now for second. Smith outside. That's Nathan Finnegan on the inside. Earlier, it looked as if nobody could touch the 67 or the 78, so remove the 67 of Loria from the equation, and it looked like, once again, the 78 might be out to lunch, but Justin Michael driving by him now under green flag conditions. Finnegan trying to do the same. Clearly, things have changed. And then you have this mess. Justin Bissonette on the inside, just trying to hang on to whatever he can. Timmy Harper going to go by. Here comes Cody Eldred and Evan Patinko. Sean Purcell in this conversation as well. He works the inside of the 32 car of Eldred. And amazingly, we only have 2 cars out of this race. Ryan Patty, the final car in stage points currently, as side by side again, we go for second and third. Finnegan still down low, Smith still up top. Then you have this fight. Patty gonna lose that last position in stage points to the driver who was caught up in the first caution of the race. Timothy Harper on the inside of turns 3 and 4. He is going to have the nose on the 30 car to the stripe. He would have lost it there if that was for the stage. There we go. Big run for the 12 down low. The 30 goes all the way up the racetrack, and Ryan Patty might actually have a run here off of turn number 2. Gets back to the outside of the 72 car. 3 wide. Hello, Evan Patinko down low. Down low, Patinko. Sean Purcell going to fire through. He moves up to 8th. Adam Ball now into the top 10. Charlie Widener there as well. He moves into the top 10, passing Brad Delph in the 72 car. Up front, we're still side by side. Look at this fight continuing on for second. A shame we ever had to leave it. Finnegan's still there now. Finally, the 78 will get him clear. On board with Finnegan. And now Brian Smith might drive away or not. Stepping up the hill out of turn 2. Big opportunity here for Finnegan. He's going to swerve down low. Do we see a send down here to turns 3 and 4? He's alongside. Not able to get position, though, on that 78 just yet, any further than the door. Justin Michaels still leading. These guys now about a second back. Brian Smith still with the defense here. He's still got the spot. Side by side again, 3 and 4. Same song. Same verse, it feels like, but second verse. Or fifth or sixth at this point. Still side by side, no separation. That's 11 to go on the stage. Patinko now working on the final stage point of stage number 2. He's working here on Timmy Harper. Widener has moved up. Sean Purcell is there in 7th. And Ryan Patty has fallen back now to the 12th position. And there we go. Patinko to the inside of Harper. Down low, Patinko. Not able to get the spot just yet. Finnegan and Smith still fighting for second. Gonna keep flipping between these two fights as long as they last. A step out there for the 78. That might be what the 6 car needed. And sure enough, Finnegan finally gets clear of Brian Smith for second. Behind them, here we go, side by side, roles reversed. Harper down low that time, and he'll be cleared by the 96 car. Evan Patinko back into the stage points. Right behind him, Sean Purcell, Charlie Widener. Widener going to work the apron, not the apron, the bottom line, the white line. Oh, slide now for this 95, just catches it. Clemens goes by. A brief chance to catch my breath. Whew. Blajelich and Gunther fighting here. This is for 13th, so a little ways out of the stage points, but still a lot of fun to watch right now as this race goes on, this stage goes on. There you see Lockett and Delph. Clemens and Widener side by side down the backstretch. And Sun back out for the backstretch. Got some clouds for a little bit. Track gonna heat back up. There you see clouds still through the front straightaway. Nowhere to go if you're Adam Ball here. He has to check up big time in 1 and 2. And that opens the door almost for Kyle Purcell. Clemens up the hill, grabs the fence. And that is a spot for Adam Ball. Caution. Tanner Dio, second time today. Brock Hersey, Cody Eldred involved. And that's going to be all she wrote for the 24 of Hersey. He has got no connection now to the right front of that car. And the Woolly Pig Brewery, number 24. He's in contention for the playoffs. This is pretty big. I'll have to come in and pit with a closed pit lane. Tanner Dia will follow suit. Cody Eldred getting free there on the 32 car. They're racing with Ryan Patty as well. Tanner just came up the racetrack and not clear. It's a big hit for those three. Really sure what was going on there, other than I guess Ryan Patty was a little slower than those guys, as we're going to see pit lane completely open up right before the stage. It's like a free pit stop for some, free stage points for others. So the 30's down low. Eldred checks up mid corner. Dio looks at this and tries to swerve high. Yeah, that's just not clear. I think Elgin will be mostly okay, but big hit for the 24. Blindsided, wow. So pit lane, a busy place. And Zach Lockett will stay out. Joined by Steven Tuck. Gladgelich went straight through the pit lane, leading me to believe that he plans to pit here late. And what I don't have is clarification on whether or not that is the stage end. Wow, and that will be stage. So leader at the time of caution was Justin Michael. Let's grab driver 93 and talk to him. He's our new race leader under this yellow. Zach, you stay out here. What's the situation with the stage? I've heard at least that the stage is over. Who was given the stage win?
I was, right when you were saying that, I was trying to hear what Patty was saying. I didn't think that was the stage end. That's why I stayed out. But I don't know. I'll have to see what they say. I didn't hear them. That would not be good if it was.
Well, I hate to have interrupted that. Yeah, I saw the text in Discord from Vincent Loria that was stage.
Huh.
This puts
right,
you in
well,
an interesting box. What do you try to do here? How do you try to react?
I think I gotta hope and pray for a caution and try to run out this tank. I know I'm gonna fall back here a little bit then, obviously, but you know, guys are gonna start pushing it. I guess I gotta sit here and hope and pray for a caution.
Well, I want to talk to you on the off chance that you end up being the stage winner. Not sure what's going on, but best of luck regardless, and hopefully we're talking again later.
Yeah, thank you.
And it might just be most efficient to go ahead and grab Ryan Patty out of this yellow. Let's see, is that one to go? No, it looks like that'll be two. So Ryan Patty, gonna grab you for the clearest answer we've got. What's the, I guess, the verdict here on the stage?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that was the stage. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to get back to green before, but we called it early just to make sure the guys knew when they were pitting.
So just to be clear, I want to make sure Justin Michael's our stage winner?
Correct. I didn't see who was up front, but when that last caution came out, if he was up front, then it would be him.
There we go. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll check into race control, I suppose. Ryan Patty confirming that was our stage, so Justin Michael is the stage winner. So, a little wrench thrown in. And it's interesting because we could have gone green for 2 more laps. I know race control is put in a bind. I wanted to make sure that these guys know kind of what the situation is, whether or not they can pit. Now we've got a longer stage 3 by a handful of laps. Will be a very interesting third stage. Going to be what? 65 laps or so since they pitted. Regardless, into the restart zone one more time. Lock it out front. Green flag is out again at Texas. Steven Tuck going to fall back as stage 3 begins. Lockett going to be swallowed up here, I think, very, very quickly. They're all over the place. They're going to put him 3 wide, maybe in a sandwich in turn 3. Who knows? But Brian Smith down to the inside in turns 3 and 4. Lockett now posted up on the top side. He'll be passed. And he's going to grab the fence ever so slightly. Lap 1 complete to begin stage number 3. Slow car, Milfeld. He has to pit. And he's done. Side by side, Thompson just behind. He's going to follow the 87 down low. This is the fight for second. Finnegan outside, Justin Michael down low. That is your stage 2 winner. And this really changes the dynamic of this race. So a longer stage 3, the game is still the same. You've still got to pit sometime. But it makes a tighter window that these drivers have to pit within. That said, Widener going to go by Zach Lockett. Here comes Kyle Purcell. And in the back, we've got cars everywhere. Look at this gaggle. This is Eric Smith. You've got Luke Rakowski saying his name for the first time tonight. Jacob Gladulus back here. Joshua Clemens, Hanover Fist. Cody Eldred is back here after that crash he was just in. And they're all just trying to make something for themselves. Moving up a little bit, Cody Neal right behind Timmy Harper. Neal, of course, didn't get a caution for his issue, but he was involved in a small incident where he made contact with the outside wall. Didn't see what led up to it, but the 4-car again catching a bad break after starting up front. Started 7th, got as high as 3rd. You see, he's been as low as 28th as he currently runs 20th. Harper going to defend. And Neal will continue working on it. Slow cars crash. Purcell and Michael, they're not done. Oh, Neal, no! Oh my gosh, and he's going to collect, I think, maybe one more, but the outside wall. That is the second time that a stage winner has been caught up in a crash immediately after winning their stage. And Justin Michael toes straight to the pit lane. Sean Purcell will do the same. Unbelievable turn of events. And again, Cody Neal. No matter what he does, no matter where he runs, no matter how fast he is, he's caught up in somebody's mess. So Justin Michael ahead in the 87. Let's watch this down in turns 3 and 4. Goes the inside of Sean Purcell. Purcell going to get free now on his door. Up the racetrack they go. And Cody Neal is caught up by the 04 going down the racetrack with no steering. Oh, and Robert, no, that's Hanover Fist coming in and smacking the 87 late. Unbelievable, this turn of events. These two were side by side in 1 and 2. Michael got clear of the 04 after the 04 passed him, then dives back in here in turn 3. And I'm trying to figure out, Purcell is there and just turns down into his door. Now Cody Neal comes down on the pit lane entrance trying to miss it. Gladulus got a piece, maybe. This is going to be Widener's perspective. He's a teammate to that 87 car. And this will show us some more of the story between these two. So Purcell comes down and just ends up turning left. We're right on board with the 04 here in a second. Stayed a little high there into 1. And so that already means Justin Michael probably not the happiest camper with him. Here's the onboard. That's where he gets side by side. Watch the hands now. He just... I mean, it's not malintent at all, but The hands just come back left, and that turns him straight. Oh, he definitely got hit by just turns him straight down into Justin Michael, and they both crash. Now, for the 4 car, this is Cody Neal back here. We were just on board with him, literally until the crash happened. He's racing with Timothy Harper, trying to get by that 12 car, talking about how he's already been run through the ringer in this race. Can't catch a break. And this happens. Crashing up ahead, he tries to go low to miss it, has no clue the steering is broke on the 04. It is unbelievable the bad luck this guy has had. And if we look over the point standings, you'll see this guy has been so good. He collects stage points. Look at him. 4th place, the overall standings. He collects all these stage points to keep himself up there. He gets a few decent results here and there. But he has just been handed bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen somebody have so many terrible things happen in a season this quickly. It's race 8. And it feels like every single race we're talking about this guy being fast and something happening that is not his doing. After that crash, we have a few more cars stuck in the pit lane. Milfelt is one of them. He's joined down there by Sean Purcell in the 04, Justin Michael in the 87, Cody Neal still in the pit lane in the 4 car. Hanover Fist is back on the racetrack in the 69, and Brock Hersey is back in the field in the 24 car, although he is 12 laps down in the 24. Restart zone again, inside of 60 to go. No more stages, just run it out to the end. Green flag for Brian Smith. The field spreading out down the backstretch. Single file for the most part. First side by side is Widener down low, Purcell up top. And lap 1 off the restart complete. Justin Bissonette right behind this fight will ride on board. They both dove into the corner big time. Widener goes up the racetrack. Purcell followed. And this might be a 3-wide situation by the time they get to turn 3. Bissonette not going to force the issue. He will ride right behind that 95 car. Now, very few cars pitted under that caution. One of them, though, was Vincent Loria back here in the 67, running an 18th. Another is going to be Zach Lockett, of course, in that 93 after he stayed out to try and catch stage points. Cody Eldred also pitted. Steven Tuck pitted. Jacob Gladulich and Kevin Gunther joined him on the pit lane. Back up front, Adam Ball in 4th. Big day for him so far. But this is the fight for 5th. Gunther gonna have to pit. Wow. I don't recall seeing that damage previously. And he just lost a lap. Yeah, he just had a problem. No caution for the 31 car. We'll get a look back on the restart, what might have happened, or what did happen, I should say, to the 31. He's following Rakoski on the top side of the racetrack down the backstretch. That's that black Toyota Camry with orange on it. Loria right behind. Gunther there on the 31. Contact with Lockett, actually, and Smith, and it's a wonder how that wasn't a caution. So Gunther out of this race. Nathan Finnegan, 2nd place once again. Rakoski, those guys were just around that incident for Gunther. Here they are fighting. And as we put the scoring pylon back on your screen here, a little bit of different data on the screen currently. It's showing the positions gained throughout the race. And there's two big numbers in the top 10. One of them is Charlie Widener, who rides in the 7th spot. The other is Evan Patinko, who rides in 9th. 22 spots gained for Widener in 7th. 21 spots gained for Patinko. They shared a row deep in this field. It looks like, I guess started, they didn't share a row. They actually started 29th and, well, yeah, they shared a row, 29th and 30th, row 15. Bissonette now working on Purcell. This is for the 5th position. And for those of you that are eagle-eyed, you'll notice, here we go, the race lead. Ryan Smith getting reeled in by the 6 car of Nathan Finnegan. Once again, they're on equal footing. Side by side they go down the backstretch. And Finnegan won this fight last time. Dives down there this time. Not gonna make it. Gonna have to try again. Not the same opportunity this time. Finnegan will have to wait and cannot get by. Purcell, Ball, they're fighting. There goes Bissonette on the inside of the 01 car. He will clear Purcell. Cameron Thompson still holding down 3rd place. Adam Ball 4th, and Bissonette now back into the top 5. That 06 has been aggressive this season. And there goes the 19 getting aggressive to the inside of Cameron Thompson. We've got some players up here that we don't usually see. Thompson, one of them, so big day there. Adam Ball, another, so a big day there. Justin Bissonette we've seen up front a few times this season, but it's been a little bit since he's made this much noise. He actually had a penalty from Bristol a few weeks ago, overcoming that today. He's 4th. Kyle Purcell now working on the outside. All of these drivers up front are on the same set of tires. How many they have to go is a different question. Adam Ball now, as soon as he was making headlines, is starting to fall back. He's 7th. He was just 4th. As we've got a change to the race lead for a moment. Finnegan back to the inside of Brian Smith. Side by side down the backstretch. Finnegan trying to get that spot back away. He's had it a couple of times. And if you look at laps led, you can actually tell how many he's led. 12 so far. Smith has led 32. And adding to that total because no pass here. Bissonette's been out front for 5 so far this race. Those are the only 3 drivers in the top 10 to have led at all in these 119 that have been run so far. Another try this time down on the inside of turn 3. Finnegan can't get clear. Smith, though, a bobble in turn 3 and 4, and he will lose the race lead across the stripe. Not cleared, though. So the last 2 laps have gone each way. 1 lap to Smith, 1 lap to Finnegan. Finnegan still on the offense. Turn 3, a new opportunity for the 6 car. We'll have 40 to go this time by. He just can't quite get the spot cleared. Almost has it this time. And across the stripe, that is how close these 2 are. A big slide there for the 6. You can't do that too much. And they continue racing like it's the last lap. Locked in a dead heat, side by side, flipping who leads what lap. This time, It's going to be Finnegan again. He's led the last 3 despite being locked side by side with Brian Smith on the outside. That time, the 6 car loses the nose. Contact between the two. And Smith is going to lose the spot. Not quite clear. And that was some big defense from the 6 once he got the race lead. Smith now maybe going to try a crossover. Can he do so this time? The answer is no. And we may finally have this lead change finalized. Sure enough, at least for the time being, this pass has been completed, and Smith is going to grab the wall. Big slide as well for Bissonette from 3rd. Cameron Thompson going to be able to move up there and try to capitalize. He's been stuck behind the 06 for a handful of laps. Another bobble there out of the 06 car. Once you run about 15, 20 laps, man, these tires go away, and these guys are working on 30 now on these tires. So Thompson going to try the outside now. That nose points back down low. Bissonette a little free at the racetrack. There goes Thompson sliding. Kyle Purcell going to go by in the 01 car. He now promoted up to 4th place, looking for 3rd. And he's going to nose ahead of that 06, but it's going to be a drag race back to the stripe here on lap 124 of 160. Bissonette, the advantage across the line. Charlie Widener looking on. He runs 6th. And this whole top 10 is nothing but battles. You see it behind these guys. Patty even working on Clemens. And that will be for 12th. Right behind these drivers, Vincent Loria has rejoined the fight for the top 10. He works here on Brad Delph for position number 10. See Mike Jennings up there in the 16 on the bottom side. Adam Ball there on the top side in that black car. Jennings checks up. That checks up to 72 for a moment. Not much changes, though, in that dynamic as, whoa, one car, I think, grabbed the fence. Clemens slow. He is pitting. So with 34 laps to go, the 44 will come in and take service. That might prompt the rest to go ahead and do the same. Bissonette sliding there out of 2. Thompson going to take advantage. Watch the 7 car down to the inside of 3 and 4 this time by. And now you got to watch your leaders. There's Finnegan. There's Smith. No stops from either one of them. And no stops from any of the leaders that time. So all holding suit. And a blink there from the 16 car. Whoa, Brad Delph shuts the door on Vincent Loria. That is for 9th now. They've worked by the 16. And Loria went right up the racetrack, losing the nose. Bissonette all over the racetrack. He goes down low here to turn 3. He's defending. Purcell trying to make the pass. And here comes Bissonette pitting. So Caro 6 will pit from 4th spot. Very slow on his approach. He's going to lose some time. Still up front, down low, Patinko working on the 95 car. Once again, down low, trying to pass Charlie Widener. And hang on, Ryan Patty is working the very top of the racetrack back here. Look at him painting the outside wall. He's going to split the 19 with Timothy Harper. And Patty is on older tires than Loria, but wow, things are just going crazy. Jennings pitted that time from this group. We now have 31 to go, and Patty is still working the very top of the racetrack, trying to find something up there. Very little grip, though, in 1 and 2. Loria looking back low now of Widener. Patinko caught up top. Delph is there. Now Purcell gonna pit. He'll pit from the, what was that, 4th spot. Adam Ball gonna join him. So pit stops in full swing. Patinko and Delph, I think the surprises of the day so far in the top 5, top 10, along with Thompson. Patty on the top side grabs a bit of the fence, 3 wide behind him. Patty gets him clear. Widener falls back now to the 9th spot. And there's Brian Smith into the pit lane, lap 131. That's going to have to be answered by the leader, Nathan Finnegan. Now inside of 30 to go. He's got to come in this lap. If he waits any longer, he's going to lose precious time to that 78 car. Meanwhile, Brad Delph hanging on to that spot. That is now for 3rd as they run. It'll be about 5th or 6th once it cycles back out. Finnegan this time will pit. He absolutely had to. Our leaders, though, stay out. Thompson stays out. I say our leaders, the rest of that group. Thompson stays out. Delph now currently 2nd. Patinko there in 3rd. Patty's still working the outside of the racetrack. That is such a weird line. And let's see, pit stop here for the 67. He's aggressive on approach. And Loria will make it down to 45 just in time. Lockett will join him. Eric Smith in the box. He comes in for service. Luke Rakowski comes into the pit lane. So when do we see new leader Cameron Thompson come into the pits? And it'll be this time. Here comes car 7. Nobody in that group right behind will opt to come in, though. Brad Delph will stay out and lead this race. Now, where do the 6 and 78 meet back up? There's the 6, and the 78 is about a second ahead. There's a lap difference in their tires. That is the difference 1 lap made. That's incredible. Brad Delph, Ryan Patty, Evan Patinko, your top 3 as they run. Harper's going to pit this time. Finnegan going to come into frame. He has got a 2nd. Like I said, a 2nd to make up to Brian Smith ahead. Now this is tracking to Lockett, but I promise you. Oh, it says it's tracking. There we go. It adjusted. This is tracking to Brian Smith on board. This is your race win fight if this cycle goes through. If it's uninterrupted. There are the first 2 cars a lap down. Brad Delph gonna pit, and oh, that made Finnegan check up. That's gonna be reflected there. He's losing sweet, sweet, precious time. But now, Brian Smith being caught up behind the 30 car. That's gonna hurt the 78 for just a moment. He's still gained time on the 6 car. A lot of cars coming in pitting. There's Thompson now cycling out. He's turn 2, while Brian Smith and Finnegan are already into 3 and 4. So the race now is between these 2 as Ryan Patty now comes in for service. All eyes on car 78 as we approach 20 laps to go. The cycle has just about completed. Ryan Patty's still technically the race leader. He's got to come all the way down to this very last pit box since he won the pole today. And there he is for service. Justin Michael also in the pit lane, although he is 36 laps down. And here comes Ryan Smith. So the gap now for 1st and 2nd as this cycle has completed is 1.2 seconds. There is significant lap traffic ahead. Really the first time this season, I feel like. Finnegan scraping the wall to turn 3. Tanner Dio right in front of that 78 car. That's going to hold Brian Smith up just a bit. Right on his door now. I don't think Brian was too happy with that. Finnegan, fastest lap of the race. Couldn't come at a better time. He needs to run this 78 down. For Brian, he just needs to get through this lap traffic. Maybe a Toyota can help him out. That's Rakowski up top. He will give room to the 78 car, so Smith able to work the bottom side in the line that he wants. Finnegan going to come up on these guys, and it's going to be a tough road. Dio grabs the fence quickly. Behind him, you've got Bissonette in 3rd. Purcell and Clemens now in the top 5. Clemens pitted early, if you recall. He pitted 13 laps ago. That's 5 laps earlier than Brian Smith. So he was able to use those tires to drive up and get himself a gap. Finnegan now working through this lap traffic, gets by Dio in the 20, working on Rakoski, easy work there. Adam Ball, he's 8th. He's working now on Gladulich, who also pitted early. In fact, he was the first car down the pit lane in this cycle. 6-lap older tires for Gladulich versus Adam Ball. Brian Smith, race leader. You can see the gap between the 78 and the 6 there. Not much is changing. We've got 19 laps to go that time by the flag stand. You see the gap as well back to the 06 of Bissonette for 3rd, the 01 of Purcell for 4th, and the 44, the 16. Mike Jennings is 6th place. And Cameron Thompson, for all of the effort he put forth in that run, staying out has put him behind the 8 ball. Some 11 seconds behind the race leader. And his last lap of 30.1 is simply not cutting it. Adam Ball, Jacob Gladulich, they run side by side out of turn 4. I can't speak for Finnegan, but the one thing that Brian Smith does not want to see is a caution flag. He's got a 1-second lead right now in the 6 car, and while Finnegan has been absolutely stellar today, especially catching up to the 78, if this run goes green, it's more likely currently that the 78 is able to hold him off. On a short run, the 6 car has looked phenomenal. On a long run, he's looked better, but not by a quite as large of a margin, I feel like. And so as we come around and get 16 laps to go, this race will be decided either by these guys running out green or, oh, I thought I saw yellow lights, or a caution. That would change this up as Clemens gives up 5th. Jennings going on through for what could be one of his best finishes of the season so far. Here's Loria working on 10th place Patinko. Cameron Thompson just ahead in 9th. Patinko now 10th. Up the racetrack, smacks the outside wall. He'll go down low. Loria caught just behind. There are battles all over the racetrack. You've also got Harper and Delph side by side back here into turn 3. Then Tuck and Bluen racing for 18th spot. And Finnegan has reeled in the 78 big time. I just said there's a better likelihood that the 78 can hold this 6 car off if it goes green. I don't know what's happened for Brian Smith, but he is way off pace right now. He has backed all the way up to Nathan Finnegan. $14 laps to go. It's a straight up 1v1 for the race lead and the race win at Texas. A long green flag run giving us this, wow, this pit cycle and this fight straight up. I don't know what's gone on for the 78, but he has fallen straight back to the 6 car. Side by side, they nearly crashed that time at a 2. This is absolutely incredible. Smith still on the outside, hanging on to that first spot. Finnegan down low with the blink. Just hoping his connection can hold on. He gives some space there to the 78 car. That's going to make this tougher for Brian to try and race. And sure enough, he nearly gets clear. This might be the deciding factor. I hate to say it. Dead even across the stripe. And we're collecting groups of cars racing now. Oh, nearly netcode. This is scary. This is really scary for the 78. Coming to 11 laps to go, and behind them, look at these fights. There's Clemens and Ball. Then you've got Gladulich and Patty. And the race leaders are still side by side. We have fights all over. We have 4 or 5 groups of cars battling, and these two are still dead even across the stripe. That time at 1 and 2, 11 laps to go. Finnegan a lane up the racetrack. Smith having to work with it. They're coming up on Hanover Fist of the 69 car, so a lapped car ahead. Hanover goes high, but Finnegan works up the racetrack. Missed the bottom that time. And it's going to be close to the stripe that time by a couple thousandths of a second. Finnegan leads it. Smith dives back into turn 1. He's going to take the spot back away. Doesn't quite have Finnegan cleared yet, and sliding now, contact! 10 laps to go, and there goes the 6. He's going to lose it. Finnegan crashing. Comes to a stop. Caution is out. This changes everything, and I can't help but wonder if they only crashed because of the unstable connection for the 6 car. And I hate that that's what it's coming down to. But I mentioned that unfortunately that could be the deciding factor. I think it just was. Unbelievable. A look back. I mean, this is sensational racing. Absolutely incredible stuff. They're dead even across the stripe every time. But you can see every time the camera lags back like that, that's a blink. So as they work through 1 and 2, there you go, a blink. And Smith got free, so that wasn't really the deciding factor. But then Finnegan trying to gather it up. Gets free, and just couldn't hang on to the car. And this is going to open up pit lane. Everybody is going to come in for the most important stop of the day. We'll go straight to pit stops. Brian Smith comes in. Purcell. Wow, Purcell and Gladulich will stay out. Everybody else coming in, it has to be Ford fuel down and away quick. You might have some 2-tire opportunities. There is Jennings. Jennings, 2 tires, is going to get out of here first, then Smith, and this whole race has changed. Loria, the 3rd car out, he's on 2. Patty's on 2, he's going to be 6th. Bissonette's on 4, he'll be 7th. Thompson, he'll be 8th. Ball and Finnegan round out your top 10, they're all on 4 tires. And Kyle Purcell stays out, along with Jacob Gladulich. About 25 laps on their tires. Average. Nearly 30 for Gladulich, 22 for Purcell. And Kayla in the chat poses a fantastic question. What is up with 2nd place? I think 4 times in the NASCAR Cup race here earlier today at Texas, I think 4 times you had 2nd place crash. That 2nd place crash, I think, is the most important of the day, the most impactful for sure. A race for the win, and Finnegan in contact with Brian Smith. And Smith... Ooh. Finnegan's going to the rear. Finnegan is going to accept fault. Wow. This race gets better and better. Well, we can talk to a 7th place driver, Justin Bissonette. We've had everybody all over the place in every kind of situation, and Bissonette has finally come through to rejoin us up front. This is his best run in a few weeks. Justin, you're 7th place here on a restart late in this race. You'll have, about 5 laps to go. You are on 4 tires. There's a few 2 tires ahead of you. How do you approach this restart?
My biggest concern is I think 16 is still on completely old tires, so he's been doing a good job of restarts. I just got to hope he doesn't spin, and if our line gets going here, I'm going to send it hard to the inside.
I thought Jennings got to. You might know better. Of course, you're in the Discord chat with
Oh.
him.
Did he pit? I thought he stayed out. Never mind.
So the top two stayed out. That's Purcell and Gladulich. Jennings came in, I believe, for 2 based on the 9.5 second stop, along with Loria. You're going to line up down low behind Loria. Does that give you any concern?
No, I think we're gonna, I think Gloria, we learned last week, is gonna make a hole wherever one is needed, so I know who I'm following now.
Now, I've been saying it all day. I feel like Texas has become a very dramatic racetrack. That's the case again here today. I keep asking you, kind of, how do you like your chances? Is there any particular way that maybe you can use one of these corners to your advantage? Is there an end of the track you like better?
I think I am probably one of the strongest turn 2 exits off the bottom, so that's where we're gonna need to make stuff happen to set up passing for entrance turn 3. So it'll be if we stay 2 wide, we can make it happen. If we get 3 wide, then it's gonna just be a roll of the dice who survives it.
Well, it's been a lot of fun watching you so far, and Justin, best of luck on this restart.
Thanks, man. You guys have a good night.
A big day once again for Justin Bissonette, finally getting back to his solid running ways. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen that from the 06 car. He was in the conversation a couple of times at Martinsville, but never quite like he has been before. And now you have old tires for your front row. Kyle Purcell down low. He has been fantastic today. I mean, absolutely. Maybe a career race, I don't know. And he's got the luck there. I forget the cat's name, but his cat there, I'm assuming, on the side of his car. Restart zone this time. 5 laps to go at Texas for the Icon Cup Series. Green flag back in the air. Big crash. There they go. Gonna wad them all up. Patinko, Patty, Lockett, Gladulich, Clemens, and Brian Smith. Of the cars involved, he might actually have the least damage. Never mind. It's on the nose there. Getting through it, Kyle Purcell going to have the race lead still. Mike Jennings second. Vincent Loria third. Justin Bissonette comes through for fourth. Cameron Thompson fifth. Let's go back and see what just happened. This is Texas with an overtime style restart almost. It was 5 laps to go. Gladulich there on the 14. Purcell leaves him, and Gladulich is slow. I don't think he was in the right gear. So Smith to the inside, and that puts him 3, and that is what starts this crash. Oh my, wow. Gladulich. Wow. We're going to watch this one more time. I backed it up a little further. This is actually a little too far back. So we will, I hate fast forwarding, but we'll fast forward a little bit. And watch here on the dash. This area, he's in first gear. Revs it, misses the shift for a second. A very slow shift. I don't know if that's the way he normally shifts, but that was super slow getting through the gears. Smith on his coattails. That was just really slow shifting from the 14. And that stacks them all up on the outside. Brian Smith is trying to go somewhere with it. And if he doesn't, somebody else will. If he doesn't go 3 wide, everybody else is going to do it. Evan Patinko had a fantastic race going. He restarted 11th and gets clobbered on all of this. One more top-down view. This is from the blimp. You see Gladulich go nowhere. Patty's in the back end of the 78. The 78 looks to the middle, and Gladulich kind of turns. I mean, they're all just racing for the same line. I think Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, 2014. Right on board with the 96 car. Evan Patinko had a fantastic day going. Even made up a nickname. He's been in the YouTube chat a couple times. Down low Patinko. Let's watch. absolutely blindsided and grabs the end of the tire wall there. It was already destroyed. Wow. And now from the 78. One that really tells the whole story. Trying to go somewhere with it. And I think he might have to take the fall for the crash, but really, that crash started by the very slow. I don't think it was a missed shift. I think it was just a very, very slow shift from Gladulus in the 14. He just did not get out of first gear on the restart, and that stacked him all up. This is an opportunity, though, to talk to Kyle Purcell. We've talked to him a couple times this season. One time, he was keeling over and not having a great day at Las Vegas. Go to the next intermediate race, and this guy has a whole better day. Kyle, you've been up front all day long, somewhere in the conversation, and here you are. Overtime restart number 1. You're up front. How do you approach this? I mean, you had a fantastic restart that last time through, then they watered up behind you. Does anything change on this restart?
No, I'm still hoping for them to wad it up behind me. I really expected more people to stay out on tires, and then one of the people the only other guy that did just got dumped. So hopefully not a sign of what's to come for me. I know Loria is going to be really fast on the restart, so hoping I can just hang on to a decent position and not get wrecked here. Take the white, get to the end. Overall, been a good race for me. A little bit of chaos early on with people trying to get back at me, and I make a couple mistakes, make a couple people mad, I guess. We'll see. Hopefully that doesn't cost me too much in the end.
And this is definitely going to be an interesting restart. Got Jennings from the outside with new tires, you down low on old. We've heard a lot recently about restart zones in NASCAR style racing. Is there a certain approach you have? You don't have to give us all the beans here, but do you have a certain approach?
Depending on who's behind me, whatever I think is going to get me the biggest gap into one. But I might not have too much control over that with this distance.
And maybe your good luck charm, I don't know, but some fur there on the quarter panel. What's the cat's name again?
Fruit Snacks.
Fruit Snacks. That's a fantastic name for a cat. Well, best of luck here, Kyle, to you and Fruit Snacks both. Hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of this one.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Chicagoland racing driver in car number 01. An opportunity here to go for position 1 at the end of the day. Fruit Snacks riding on board. I love that name. No Limits, Texas. Pace car lights have been extinguished. One more opportunity at the very least. Maybe some more. But Kyle Purcell in control. Green flag in Barney's hand. Restart zone. We're off and away. Green flag. Green-white checkered racing. Icon overtime. A clean restart so far. Some blocks in the back. Kyle Purcell, 30-lap old tires, has to fend off Vincent Loria and Mike Jennings on brand new ones. And here comes Loria. The storyline for the 67. He bullied Justin Michael out of the way last week at Martinsville Speedway. He got the win. Admins determined that it was not in the spirit of fair racing. They stripped the playoff eligibility from that race win. They let him keep the race win. They docked 10 points. This time, Texas Motor Speedway, he's going to battle back from adversity. He's going to battle back from damage, and if he can get through 2 more corners, he just might do it all over again. There's chaos, there's crashing in the back, Finnegan up top, Jennings, the only driver that can spoil this now. Turns 3 and 4 at Texas, and Vincent Loria going to make sure this one goes without an asterisk, a win at Texas. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Wait a minute. Well, we'll let Vincent celebrate this one. Absolutely incredible. Race win done here. Leaves the drama behind. But if you're in the YouTube chat, you'll see the conversation now. Maybe a restart lane change violation previously in this race could come up in post. As for the second week in a row, we have burnouts on the front stretch by the Skippy Peanut Butter 67 machine. Unbelievable, the circumstances. Unbelievable circumstances. Oh no, that's not going to work, Loria. Vincent able to burn it down for the second week in a row. Battles back from adversity. You know what? Let's bring that graphic back up. As low as 30th in a 32-car race. So we can't get a replay. I don't know what restart that was on. So there's no way for me to get a replay of that restart. But we can absolutely go back and get a replay here of this finish here in a minute. Absolutely incredible. Just the storylines throughout. Go back one more time. So this restart, I believe, is not at all in question. We'll watch it here. So a big stack up of Bissonette. He actually fell way back. And this stacks them all up. I don't know what was going on for Justin. But after that great run that we talked to him about, he falls back. He's going to finish 10th. And here you see Gladulich back up the racetrack. He's 4th, I think, at this point. Adam Ball goes by, and Adam will keep 4th position. Cameron Thompson here. Look at this mess. Brad Delph inside. Cameron Thompson there inside. Joshua Clemens on the top. And something happens down in turns 1 and 2. The 12 gets into the 93. Zach Lockett's going to go for a spin. And that just mixes everything up. He gets collected by the 30. And there's a crash there again with Brad Smith. Oh, I keep saying Brad Smith. That's Brian Smith in the 78. Wow. And in all of that, Vincent Loria able to go through and do donuts on the front stretch for the second week in a row. Such different circumstances. Martinsville to Texas. Absolutely incredible the way this league works out sometimes. And that is why we love the Icon Cup Series. Unbelievable. You can't write it up any better than these last 2 weeks have been. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results. Vincent Loria had the playoff eligibility, not the eligibility, but the playoff benefits of last week's win stripped away. Was docked 10 points for aggressive driving. Comes out here and through absolute misfortune for your top 2 leaders, through the whole last 60, 70 laps, Loria is going to victory lane after he starts second. Wow. Mike Jennings will finish second. Kyle Purcell thirds. We'll talk to him in Fruit Snacks one more time. Adam Ball will go 4th. Cameron Thompson 5th. Brad Delph 6th. Then Joshua Clemens, Jacob Gladula, Charlie Widener, and Justin Bissonette. Some feel-good mentions in there, I feel like. Thompson to hang on to a top 5. Ball. Adam Ball in 4th. That's a big day. Of course, Kyle Purcell, Mike Jennings in the top 3, but also Joshua Clemens after a couple of incidents. Jacob Gladulich after that crash in the front stretch. Charlie Widener was involved in a crash or two, I believe. And Justin Bissonette, after whatever happened with that shift, for him to still finish in the top 10 is a big deal. 11 through 20th, some other stories. Definitely going to be Luke Rakowski finishing as high as 14th. Finnegan drops down to 13th spot. Brian Smith, the crash in the last lap there, he goes 19th. Ryan Patty and all of that. Robert Blue and Steven Tuck, I mean, they finish up there. Zach Lockett drops down to 20th, though. Worth mentioning, Anthony DeSeo comes through for 18th. But then you have Eric Smith back here, Hanover Fist. Down low, Patinko finishes 23rd. And Heartbreak through the rest of this page. Wow. I'm still just absolutely floored by the finish of this race. Let's go ahead and start talking to these guys after it. Vincent Loria. The story could not be written any better. The circumstances are so different today. How much better does this win feel?
Oh my gosh, buddy. This one feels great. This one feels nice. It's like you said, man, it's absolutely just poetic. I love it.
Now, you come back from that crash earlier in the race between you, Ryan, and I'm trying to recall here, I think 62 of Fleming in his first start of the season. How big of a setback was that? I mean, you went back to 30th. I think you were a lap or two down. Did you at all think at that point in time you'd be in victory lane?
No, I mean, I had 40 seconds required. I had 4 minutes of optionals there. I didn't claim an EOL for that wreck. I mean, there was more than enough room up top, and I felt like I kind of got squeezed onto the grass. So, I mean, felt like a racing incident there to me, but was sad to collect Patty. He came out of it all right, actually, but yeah, 4 minutes of damage. At one point there, like right near the end of the stage, I decided to I stayed on the lead lap right after that, but I actually decided to go a lap down so I could take off some more damage. And then ended up getting a lucky dog at the stage, got the rest of the damage fixed, and then just poured the coals to her, man. This 67 Skippy machine was flying out there. Had to make a little bit of a strategy call at the end too. Ended up taking 2 tires, and then I don't know what happened on that restart, but Brian claimed an EOL for it, so he kind of piled up the field there. But then I had Mike on my outside, he was on 2 tires, and then Kyle in front was on none. So I knew just restarting on the inside with the tire advantage, it was all mine. I just had to go through the motions, and it worked out.
We take home this win, although it sounds like you even kind of touched on it there. Are you concerned at all about the, I guess, ownership of that crash earlier?
Well, I mean, I'm concerned about the ownership of everything now because the penalties are so severe, but I mean, I couldn't... I watched it a couple times before, I got pulled in here, and if it's just a racing incident. I mean, we're 3 wide going through the trial where there's not much you can do. So I guess I said this last time I won, and I'll say it again. We'll see where it shakes out in a couple days here, but this one for sure feels nice.
Well, Vincent, good to talk to you. 41 laps led, much better circumstances for sure, and I think a very different day. Congratulations on a 2nd win in a row.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Big day for that 67 car. Good to talk to him at the end of it all. Mike Jennings goes 2nd place, and this is another really big story in the front of this field. Mike, 2nd place. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, man. We needed something like this, so really happy with the team. A lot of the, guys, Nathan, Ryan, Justin, Adam, all ones supporting me. Kevin, Cody, everybody giving me some tips there at the end, and worked out well.
You started this race in the midfield, 19th spot, and you really had to work for it. I mean, really had to work for it. But by stage 3, you were up front, I think, in the top 10 most of that last run. When you guys were going green, did you feel better about it then, or did you feel better after the caution?
Oh yeah, no. Long runs, I knew I was gonna be in a better spot. That's why at the end there, when they said, "Hey, take 2," I had never practiced that, and I was like, "All right, let's just go for it." I've kept the tires pretty clean all day, so I felt pretty confident with it. But yeah, just overall really happy.
It's really good to talk to you after some of these recent struggles. It feels like a lot of you guys in this series, you included, have just had bad luck after bad luck. And does this feel like you're kind of shaking that monkey off your back?
That's the goal, man. 1.5 are coming up, and that's really where I noticed myself shining. So hoping just keep this stretch going and find ourselves in the victory lane.
And with this tough stretch of races ahead, you got Dega, you've got Dover, Kansas, Darlington, Charlotte. It never really lets up, even though there's those couple of intermediates to talk about. Is there any kind of extra preparation in store?
Well, next week won't be out there for Dega. Actually, shout out to Mr. Finnegan there, Nathan. We'll be at his wedding, so big shout out to him. Excited for that. The rest of the season, I'm just going to take it week by week.
Well, congratulations. 2nd place, a big day for sure. You were aiming high. You get there. 2nd place at the end. Good to talk to you, Mike. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, man.
I'm sure we'll be talking to Car 16 a bit more. But how about the third manufacturer on the podium and second time talking to him in the last, 3 laps of racing, technically. Kyle, you had fruit snacks to stay up front. You couldn't quite get the race win, but third place still has to feel pretty good, yeah?
Absolutely. And, it's just one of those things where you're just holding on, running the fastest you can without being completely in the way of the people that you know are going to get by you one way or the other.
And these restarts, they completely changed the race, I think, brought you right back in it with the strategy option to stay out. Did you have any tires left if you wanted to?
I did, but I knew for a fact that if I just followed, I was in like 5th or 6th, if I just followed everyone onto pit road, then I'm like, well, then I'll come off 4th, 5th, 6th, and be behind them wherever we finish. And when I saw everybody in front of me pit, I'm like, oh, I'll stay out. A few people further on back will surely stay out with me, and only one car did. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of falling. I figured I'd still get a good finish if nobody ran me over and I could keep it under myself the last couple laps, and just glad that it worked out that way. I think the second caution helped me out a lot.
And how about the string of races coming up? We go to Talladega first up next week, and then Dover. We've got Kansas coming up. Some really punishing racetracks, because even then we go to Darlington, Charlotte, Gateway. Some really tough racetracks. How do you approach it?
Well, tracks like Gateway, like the flatter the track, the better for me typically, so I'm kind of excited for that. But I don't really have the time to run a lot of laps or run a lot of races during the week like some people, so I don't really get much practice. So it's super speedways that definitely are one of my best chances to get good finishes or possibly win. Although between my brother and myself, we made some we had some disagreements with one of the powerhouse teams that's definitely fast, so might need to work with some other stragglers all over the field and figure out who still likes us after this week, I guess. Because it's Talladega, you need friends.
That you do. Well, best of luck regardless, Kyle. It's good to talk to you twice in one day and not have you feeling under the weather. So, yeah, we're continuing that trend up, and a third place finish is a big deal for you in the points. In fact, I mean, you come in, I think, are you 3 points up or 3 points down between the two? You were down.
I was 3 down, yeah.
So a big swing there, and I think definitely pointing into the playoffs as we speak. Best of luck the rest of the season. We'll be talking to you more for sure.
I appreciate it as always, guys.
Al Purcell, big finish this evening. He's the brother that entered this race 3 points down in the standings coming into today. Here you look at the standings as we entered Texas Motor Speedway for race number 8. And Kyle Purcell right there, position 17. Michael Jennings also. Mike Jennings there in the 16. He finishes, second. So I mean, those two both are going to move into the top 16 for sure. Sean Purcell finishes down the order in 30th. He'll absolutely drop out. Bissonette, a great day. Milfelt, not so much. He finishes 26th. So he will likely, at this point, unless he can turn this season around, have to think about using that win to keep him in the playoffs. Zach Lockett had a unfortunate end there at the end. Let's see. Harper had a bad day, so he's going to be around that cut line. But then you have guys like Loria, just like Purcell and Jennings, that have a fantastic run here and are going to move up. And actually, I look at the rest of those drivers that are on the outside of the cut line, and they all had bad days or weren't here. Campbell had a bad day. Hersey, Dio, they had terrible days. Taylor wasn't here. Rakowski, well, you know what? Rakowski, I thought he finished forward. He finished 14th. Not too bad. Excuse me. My voice is starting to get hoarse. But then, of course, Justin Michael finished in the back as well. Let's see. 29th position. So, a rough day for many. A good day for some. Gotta drink water. I thought I could do this right at the end. Oh, man. Right at the end, my voice is failing me. But a really good race. Really, really solid race and big points implications all the way across. This is what's upcoming for us. Excuse me. Wow. We're really having a moment. This is the rest of the season. Well. I'm gonna drink some water. Oh man, it's all coming unraveled at the end. Well, my voice is gone. How about that for the end of a broadcast? Whoa. That's a new one for me. It's all come undone here. Fourth wall is broken. So, yeah. Well, let's wrap this one up. That's the schedule. Wow, this is a new one. Here's a look at what's upcoming at the channel. I can't believe this is happening. Thursday, April 18th, we're going to Slinger Speedway in Wisconsin for the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. That is race 9 of 11 in their season, so absolutely points are coming up. Alex McCullum, Ryan Kuhn, names like those battling for the championship. Next week, the Icon Cup Series heads out to Talladega. Should be a lot of fun on April 21st. And then Oxford Plains up in Maine for race 10 for the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. I hate that my voice went out like that right at the end. I've never had that happen. But thank you guys for watching. Clearly, it's time for us to shut her down for the night. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a fantastic race here at Texas. Again, I think changing opinions on this racetrack, one race at a time. Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, all doing so much for us. Congratulations to race winner Vincent Loria. Big day for that 67 car and that team. When Cody Neal is down, 67, able to get another win and elevate the rest. That is a solid way for them to finish it out. And a big nod to these groups at the bottom of the screen as well. Well wishes to Zach Murtis. He couldn't be here this evening, but a big nod to In Audio, ATVO, Whiplash SimCams, OBS, and iRacing.com. Gonna rest my voice now for the next couple days, and we'll see you at Talladega in a week's time. Hopefully you can join us Thursday, though, the Sarah Super Series at Slinger.